Check, check, check. Peace.
Peace, peace.
Yeah, man. What's going on with you this morning? How you feeling?
Regular, regular. Everything's good. How you?
Everything is well, man. Just getting up, trying to get to it, man. Try to have this discussion. No offense to you or Kamala, but this is what the people saying, so this is what we're gonna talk about. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. And we had a pretty good discussion last night too, man. I appreciate you for stopping by.
What's up?
What I'm probably gonna do is just let a little bit of my other video roll out for a minute in case anybody else want to pop in. That way they won't just pop in right in the middle. I was already discussing it, so I'm finna just play a little bit of an old video just to let some people roll in, hopefully.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Yeah. Let's go here. This damn thing. There we go. Here. Let me know if you can hear this or not.
Something that was in his power specifically under the executive branch for.
Can you hear that?
And he did not. And I can't give him no goddamn pass. You got to show me the money. You can't sell me hope. As far as I'm concerned, we still ain't had a
Can you hear that, good guy?
Yeah.
black president. Y'all in love with the idea he could have done something that was in his power specifically under the executive branch for black people. And he did not. And I can't give him no goddamn pass. You got to show me the money. You can't sell me hope. As far as I'm concerned, we still ain't had a black president. Y'all in love with the idea of a black president. But we ain't had one yet. This is token ass nothing. We should be a nation inside of a nation. What it do? What it do? It's to avoid due diligence with the principles. And we are here to put things in the proper perspective for the people. Today's episode is about Obama. Let's go. The idea of a black president. But we ain't had one yet.
Really pass meaningful laws. It would not be necessary to pass any more laws. There are already enough laws on the law books to protect an American citizen. You only need additional laws when you're dealing with someone who's not regarded as an American citizen. But whites are so hypocritical. They don't want to admit that this black man is not a citizen. So they classify him as a second-class citizen to get around making him a real citizen. If he was a real citizen, you'd need no more laws. You'd need no civil rights legislation. Civil rights, when you have civil rights, you have citizenship. It's automatic. White people don't need laws to protect their citizenship because they're citizens. But they don't want to tell us we're not citizens. And at the same time, they don't want to pass laws that are meaningful enough to protect us as if we were citizens. And the Supreme Court desegregation decision is the best example I know. That's a law from the Supreme Court. 10 years have gone by. No desegregated schools. It hasn't been implemented beyond, I think, 9% in 10 years. So this just shows you the hypocrisy of the American white man. They talk out of both sides of their mouth. And for this reason, we who are Muslims, that is, who believe in the religion of Islam, who believe in God, we don't believe that black people will ever get any problem with laws being passed or new persons being put in office, white liberals being put in office. There is nothing that the white man will ever do to bring about true, sincere citizenship or civil rights recognition for black people in this country. Nothing will they ever do. They will always talk it, but they won't practice it. And with the Supreme Court, if the NAACP can tell me that they want a desegregation decision for me 10 years ago, but yet the schools haven't been desegregated, as I say, this is a victory with no victory. It's a victory that you can talk about, but it's a victory you can't show me. So if you represent the NAACP and you're telling me about this great victory you won for me, when I look at you, I have to conclude that either you have been duped yourself or else you are trying to dupe me. And in most instances where the civil rights struggle is involved, there is no civil rights leader can point to me one concrete gain, practical gain that black people have made in the civil rights field in this country, not only during the past 10 years, but during the past 100 years. Now, the other part was...
How many times must we be duped before we just wake the fuck up? I mean, goddamn, what did he do substantially for our...
All right. I feel like Malcolm made some good points, and I feel like we still going through that today. You know, I mean, I think he said it best as far as, our rights as black people in this country. Why the hell do we need civil rights if we are already protected by the rights that are here? That'll let you know that we are not equal. If they have to enact more rights in order to protect us, that lets you know that we are second-class citizens, and I feel like he said it best, and we still dealing with that today. And I don't think we really take heed to that. We don't take that seriously, right? Because they say one thing, and do another. So they want to give off the appearance that everything is equal and fair and they deal with equality. But if you look at things in practice, it's absolutely not. They just pacify us. But anyway, that's just one aspect of it. But today's episode is about Kamala. Who is Kamala? How you feel about Kamala? We might go over her policies, go over just how you feel about Kamala in general. It's always been a black issue concerning not only Kamala, but also Obama too. And me as a so-called black man here in America, I'm willing to discuss those issues. I'm not here to make anybody feel uncomfortable, but I'm not here to also be popular. So I'm always going to say how I feel, regardless of what's the popular opinion or not. To me, I have to deal with what my gut tells me. I have to deal with what my brain tells me. And I just have to, make the best decisions for me and my family's sake. So we're going to jump right into this, right? So, as I listen to the internet, one of the main things is about Kamala's blackness. Is she or is she not black? Good guy. How you feel?
I mean, she is black in the sense of her heritage, her her father's side, of course. And especially, yeah, her father's side especially is just, yeah. So, and that, I wouldn't say Asian, but I would just say her father's side, of course. She's black. So I don't think that's the argument. I think the argument with her is with the blackness. If you want to argue anything about her blackness, they just get down when she came out and when she won, I think her first big office. Politico says she was the first Asian American, and she
Mhm.
didn't really correct them. So I think that was so it's like if they didn't say it, it wouldn't have been a problem. But the fact that she don't correct people and say I'm half this and half that, she gives the other people a thing to say about her. But another, but you are who you are, regardless of what. So she is black. I mean, I have no problem with her being black or saying that she's black. But I mean, well, that just that being said, she is black.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. You talking about other people defining her as black, but we do have some instances of her defining herself as Asian or Indian. So let's pop up over here. Check this out. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Is it? No, that's not it right there. Let's take a look at this. Let me know how you feel about this.
Becoming the first Indian American woman to be nominated as a vice presidential candidate in America. In a recent event, the Democratic vice presidential nominee took a trip down memory lane, recalling her mother's journey from India to America. Now, her mother, Shamala Gopalan, was born in Chennai and immigrated to America to study at UC Berkeley. The Indian origin senator also talked about her trips to India and her mother's attempt to instill a love of good idli in her.
I stand before you as the first candidate for Vice President of the United States of South Asian descent. When my mother, Shamala, stepped off the plane in California at 19 years old, she didn't have much in the way of belongings, but she carried with her lessons from back home. Growing up, my mother would take my sister, Maya, and me back to what was then called Madras, because she wanted us to understand where she had come from and where we had ancestry. And of course, she always wanted to instill in us.
Yeah. Uh-oh. All right. So we got to deal with that, you know. Um, she identified as a Asian American. You know, she put the Asian first and didn't mention her African descent. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that she was mostly raised by her mother, who is the Indian. And anybody that you're raised by primarily, that's who you're going to identify with first, the culture that you're around, even if you are of mixed ancestry, mixed ethnicity. The person who raises you, that's who you're going to identify with. It happens all the time. So the thing with me is, you know, she can play both sides. And I think in politics, that's what politics is all about. So
Oh,
she's gonna
I,
hold on,
I,
hold on.
no, no, no,
Let me
go ahead, go
land.
ahead, go
You
ahead,
gotta let
go
me
ahead.
land. So the thing is, she has the ability to play both sides, right? So if you have Indian Americans here in America, of course, you're gonna say, "Hey, I'm the first Indian American senator, vice president, president." And then also, you know, when it benefits you, you might say the same thing whenever you're around Black people. But the thing is, when it comes to us, the citizens that want her vote and want things done for us, you know, which one is she going to really put that work in for? And that's where we have to be critical of her, right? She does have the ability to play both sides, and she has played both sides. Now, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but whenever you have mixed ancestry, right? Which one do you have the affinity for? Which one do you hold dear to your heart? Because if you didn't grow up in Black culture and you just have the Black face, you know, that puts you in a position to where you could, you know, use your looks to your benefit. And we can't play like that's not an issue. Like we can't talk about that. We can talk about that in a real way because it's a real issue. What's up, good guy?
You are right 120 million%. I don't think that like because Malcolm X talk about that in the Ballad of the Bullet when he talks about is when is the time for us to stop. It should be time for us to stop allowing even white people to send colored folks into our neighborhood and have them trick us into voting for them. And so I understand your concept of everything of because who I am, my father from Dominica and my mother's from the South. So, but I was raised from my mother's side, so I really identify for my American African American side. But that doesn't mean, I am not half Dominican. But I understand what you're saying. But it's just her policies. That's what I mean. That don't mean that she's not black. Her father was a Marxist. So her father, I guess, in the sense of Marxist, in the sense of for the people, I wouldn't say that Marxist is completely a great thing, but I think the ideology is a kind of good thing. So I would
I
say,
agree.
and her and her father disowned her. So my whole thing is that you are who you are. So yeah, I'm just trying to be on the on the other side, just be like, not to
No,
give. I don't. Yeah. I don't want to just. I just want to be on the side. So my thing is like, you are who you are. She is Indian and she grew up in Canada, but she went to a AKA, if I'm not mistaken, one of them sorority schools. So let's say this though. Let's say that when she got to America and she got into the colleges and she really got into her, I would say her black side, would that be a problem in a sense? I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to give you devil's advocate. Go ahead.
no, you good. I mean, what does it mean to get into her black side? Because you're right, she is who she is. She is of mixed descent. But the thing is, we're talking about politics, right? So she can play both sides. Like, I don't have a problem with her, indulging into black culture or Indian culture. But when we're talking about giving somebody your vote and expecting somebody to do something for you, like we have to hold that dear. Like we can't be playing around with that, right? So we just don't know until she get up there what she's going to do. And this is also another thing. You said you want to talk about policies, right? So let's check out this right quick. Let's see. So here's the next thing on the list. Let's go here, here, up here. All right, let's check this out.
Do you support reparations for Black people?
Well, listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination and segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the Lift Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, I'm gonna do something that's only gonna benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country. Right?
All right. So at least she's being honest. She don't plan to do nothing about reparations specifically for Black people. And that's a big issue for me. And it should be a big issue for all Black people, right? That policy is the first policy for me. So let's get two things. We have established two things already, right? That she has in the past identified herself with her Asiatic descent, with her Asian descent first, and didn't even mention her Africanness at all. So she has the ability to appease both sides. And let's be realistic, this is politics, you know. So now that she has gotten the game a little bit, because that was years ago, right? I think it's like 10 years later, 8 years later, you know, it would be smart of her to appeal to the Black community because there's more Black Americans than there are Indian Americans, and politics is by vote. So of course you want to try to appease the bigger crowd, but where's her heart at? Remember, that's the issue. Where do her politics lie? And now when we're talking about her politics and policies, she's saying she's not going to institute anything that's going to directly affect Black people only, as if that can't be done. Some people believe that these things can't be done in law, and we're going to talk about that also. So how do you feel about her not wanting to deal with reparations specifically and want to bring in another piece of legislation that will help all people?
Oh, I think that was a misstep. Of course, by her, because she could have a legacy to be the first Black female to do so, but the powers that be that's behind her is not allowing her to make that decision. So I kind of figured that out. So and
So
then
you think
again,
it's somebody else not allowing her to do it, or you don't think
I
she's
mean,
working on her own cognition?
I don't think that no, because how she got to the office, I don't believe that she's ever her whole team is Hillary Clinton's old team. So, but I think that and like you said, I don't think her makeup, her background, her she's not progressive enough to be like this is what I'm about. I don't think she didn't come into being, that type of person. So even the reason why Biden picked her, because they kind of think the same. He's more of a moderate, and she's more of a moderate to more. She's more right than a liberal anyway. So I don't think that she's going to do anything. Remember, she's a prosecutor. She's a cop. You know, type of candidate. So she's not like that. That by itself is kind of alarming for Black people. Is like, so we know how prosecute and that and her, excuse me, and her her tenure as a prosecutor did not, help the city of San Francisco, excuse me. So it's not like we don't have, a litany of things to talk about when we talk about her record and how bad it is. I'm just saying that, this is what we got. This is the person that we didn't vote for, that we got to choose against Trump. And that's the
Right.
thing, that our policies are so bad. Even when she tried to um she broke the Eighth Amendment. She didn't want to let people out of jail for good behavior and things of that nature. I mean, all in over, she's a bad candidate, but I mean, this is DI high, I think. I believe so.
So now let's move on to the next issue, because I believe I'll be hearing this issue too, right? People saying, okay, she Black, so that should be enough. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if we can't go off of what her policies is, how she identify, and what she's done in the past, then I don't know what else to go off of. But because she is Black, Is that enough? And people will say that, like, we need to vote for her, we need to support her because she's black. What the hell does that mean? You know what I'm saying? That don't mean she's gonna do nothing for black people. Even if she does sometimes identify as African American, that's fine. But what does that say to what she's going to do for black people? It needs to come out of her mouth. She going to give us the uplift program. I don't even know what the hell that is. Do you know what that consists of? Because I sure in the hell don't.
Anybody that makes under $100,000 would get she talked about it that so that's why she said I'm not gonna do anything just for black people. So anybody that makes under $100,000 they get some type of benefits. I don't know what type of benefits that she was talking about at that particular time. I know recently she was on a campaign talking about price gouging. I think one thing that I think that was also on Biden plan was any first time home buyers they get $25,000 for a year if you buy a house. Um, if you vote for her, she get elected. That's one of the things. First time, I think for a whole year they get $25,000. I think so. I
That
think that's
is not enough for me. True indeed. That's a good thing. But why can't we have something that's specifically aimed at us to uplift our community? People say, oh, well, that's discriminatory because you discriminating against other ethnicities. I keep slaughtering that word. Other races, so-called races, other groups and stuff like that. I don't care because it's done all the time to other people. We support other groups all
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah. I mean,
whether it be your sexual preference groups, whether it be our allies in other countries, whether it be other people that we have done wrong to in this country and other countries. We help specific groups all the time and leave out other groups. But some reason when it comes to black people, it's always a problem. We can't do it for this reason. It's inappropriate for her to do it for that reason. Obama couldn't do it because people was holding them back. The Democrats wasn't gonna let them. The Republicans wasn't gonna let them. It's up to Congress to do it. You got to take it to the legislators. Like, damn. And most of the time I'll be hearing black people talk about this. Like, he can't do it, she can't do it. Well, why the hell it keep getting done for other people? Other people have gotten land, other people have gotten reparations, other people have gotten policies, other people we get welfare. You know what I'm talking about? We get minor stuff. We get small concessions, man. And when it comes to the big stuff, we don't never get it. And I be getting tired of begging, right? I don't be wanting to beg for nothing. I don't want to march for nothing. I don't want to sing for nothing, hold hands for nothing, make sounds. No, we need to either hold people to the fire, right? Hold people's feet to the fire, like we should have did with Obama, right? Because I feel like we in Obama part two. Because Obama went in there and rocked us to sleep. Moon walked out of office without doing too much for the black people, and that kind of hurt my feelings. You know what I'm talking about? So I don't want this to be the same thing with her, to where she, galvanize the black vote. We all get out. She the first black female. She the first black this. She the first black, but then she get in there and don't do nothing for black people. We gotta quit being so naive. You know what I'm saying? And look at things for what they are. And then once we do put them in there, whenever they don't do what we want them to do, we bust ahead. And I hate to say that, and I don't want to come off no type of way, but in politics, that stuff really happen, right? Whenever you put somebody in position, right, and you give them your vote and you give them your money and you don't do what you're supposed to do, you get your head busted. That's politics. JFK got his head busted. Lincoln got his head busted. Plenty of politicians, even on the corporate sector. You know what I'm saying? Corporate and politics, they go back and forth, man. You get placed in positions, you don't do what you're supposed to do, somebody gonna bust your head, and we got to take the same position and stop being so scary and be aggressive. We got to make sacrifices. I believe, you know what I mean? Because politics is politics. Go
and
ahead.
I just do believe that if we just stop voting for the side that we've been voting for all these decades, and just show them that the power's in our vote, the power's in the polls. So even like what those Palestinian people are doing in what is that? What state was that? Uh,
Palestinian peoples. What?
yeah, they holding a vote in I forgot. I think it's Missouri. Forgot what state. And they got a lot of power in Chicago also. So there's a couple of swing states that Kalama, she has to bend the knee to the Palestinians because of what's going on with Israel. If you did you see how what the they had a what's the name? I think it was Friday. They had a one of them events for the vice presidents, one of them funding events. And they protesters in New York, them Palestinians, they showed up. They threw a Molotov cocktail, if I'm not mistaken, or and inside they shit. Like if not a Molotov cocktail, I think one of them smoke. They threw something in there.
Okay.
And so to your saying, like they really wildin'. So I'm not saying that that's the way to do it, but I mean protesting and what I'm saying is that she got to not she has to with certain people she got to do something. She got to say something. She has to really like they really want them to stop giving weapons to Israel. So she has to have policies for a group other groups of people. But when it comes to us, just bring out Megan Thee Stallion and you get
Right.
niggas votes. That I mean
Right.
that's the
But
concept.
I wanna deal with the first thing that you said, right? Whenever you first started your statement, you was like, uh what did you say? Whenever you said, um, was it about the policies? Man, I was trying to follow everything that you said. Yeah, how did you start off your statement, man? I forgot. I lost my train of thought. I was trying to follow everything that you're saying. Do you remember what you said when you first started off?
I first started off. My whole thing was about they gotta you know the people in those Palestinians in what is it Missouri or in Chicago they protest and they
Oh,
holding a
oh,
vote.
I remember.
Yeah.
So you were saying that one of the issues is with Black people, we got to stop voting against our interests. I hate that train of thought. I hate that mode of thought because you are telling me from the time we have been able to vote, we always vote against our own interests. And that don't make sense to me. You mean to tell me from the time we've got the vote, got the ability to vote, we ain't never voted in our own interest? That don't make sense to me. But people will try to press that on us. Even our own people, they will talk to us like, hey, you keep voting against your interests. That's a damn lie. And then whenever we finally did, supposedly we got Obama, and then what changed on that? Don't nobody want to take no responsibility for Obama. Like we take the minor good stuff he did, and we say, look, he did this and that. Man, that ain't enough for me. But the mentality that we are always voting against our own interests, that is bogus. That's bogus as hell. We have plenty of Black people that are way smarter than me, way smarter than you when it comes to politics and how the law works. And you cannot tell me the Black people that do participate in politics, we just haven't been doing enough or we ain't been doing it right. I can't accept that. I cannot accept that we just haven't been doing it right. You know what I'm saying? That don't sit well with me because I know we have many of people that get out there and galvanize people, head to the polls, have our own people that we trying to vote for, have our own policies that we try to get passed through, and stuff has to happen to like the only time we really get action, the only time we really get motion is when our people get their head busted, and then we have to act a fool and the whole world take notice. But whenever we just going through these regular political things, trying to just pass through legislation and stuff, we always the last people on the totem pole. What, let me ask you this. What major substantial things have we ever gotten for our vote? You know what I'm saying? Like we get small concessions, man. And to me, if it ain't about reparations, it ain't about shit. Excuse my language. You can't talk to me about nothing else unless we deal with that first, because other people have gotten it. I want it too. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to vote for it. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to beg for it. I shouldn't have to do anything for it. You should just be able to right your wrongs that you did to us like you did to other people.
Now, I agree with that. We deserve reparations, but what I'm saying is that I think Malcolm X said, I know he said, if you're still, you know, like when Obama got into office, right? He had the majority, he had the super majority, right? Meaning that he had the House and the Senate. Granted, he only had it for 6 months. But when you have the House and the Senate, that's a time when you could do whatever you want because you got basic control. You could put any bill up there for whatever. So it's been so what he got it in '08. But what I'm saying right now is 60 years from 1964 to 2004. And what I'm saying is about what I'm saying about black people, right now, we are still voting for Democrats. And like what is the last election was like 90%. So I mean, so we still vote for the Democrats in the high remarks, and it doesn't help us. I'm talking about nationally. So every time we vote for a president, we always vote for Democrats, but it don't help us. So we are doing this against our own. Even last election, when Biden said, "If you don't uh, vote for him, you're not black," without giving any policies, real policies that he's really doing for black people. Trump had a fucking policy, excuse my language, but he had something that he was trying to give black people at that particular time. I mean,
Okay.
even Ice Cube talked to him about it. So it's not like, you know, and then when Ice Cube talked to him about it, the ladies at the shade room got mad at him. So
Oh, it
what
was a
I'm
bunch of
saying,
people mad at Cube. That was ridiculous.
so right. So what I'm saying is that even with a candidate come up with a policy for Republican candidate come up with policies for black people, they get ridiculed. And that's what I mean is like they vote against their own interests. That's what's clearly being shown.
Uh, okay, so what is your position on Obama? Do you believe that Obama was a good president?
No, I don't believe Obama was a good president. I believe Obama was a mistake. I believe Obama was blackface on white racism, and with that being done, he started slavery inside of Libya.
So
He
this is why I asked you that question. So what candidate would have went for, or did you vote for that would have made a substantial difference in your
when
opinion?
Nah, I did vote for Obama that '08. Yeah,
No, not even that year. Let's talk about this year. What I'm saying is you're saying that black people keep voting against their interests, but who is the candidate that you like that you think that would be good for the
listen,
black people?
I'm saying that I would say that listen, vote. I would say don't if you're gonna stay at home, stay at home. Just don't give your vote for somebody excuse me, for a party that has not done anything for you in 60 years. Vote locally, yeah. But I'm talking about vote when you vote for president, don't give them this landslide because she's black.
Right.
I would say that, you know, I would say that see if Trump still have that platinum plan for black people. If so, you use that to be a reason to vote for him. Listen, I would say don't. I would say you could vote for Jill Stein. You could vote for what's his Mr. West. You could vote for him, but
Kanye.
I was about to say Kanye, I swear to God. But 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 it's, those votes are like giving votes to Trump anyway. So you know what I mean? So it's like my thing is just, vote for the candidate that's going to give you the best thing. I'm especially talking about president, vote locally for your best interest. I mean, that's the thing. Now to the fact that black people are asking for something, I think that's the problem of politics right now.
So let me ask you this question, because we talk that stuff, and then whenever I ask black people, well, what do you want for your vote, like specifically? And black people get to fumbling and bumbling. Like we'll say reparations, but then after that, it's just be all the generic stuff. We need more jobs. We need more healthcare. We need more, all this generic type things. You know what I mean? And me, I'm a do for self type person. I believe that we need to come together and do for ourselves. I'm not with going to the government and asking them for Nathan. You know what I'm saying? I didn't got by this
But
long.
that's
I'm
hold up,
41.
but just
Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up.
my bad, go.
I am 41 years old. I have got to this far by my damn self, with no help from the government. You know what I mean? Like now we can say like different things like roads and trash, electricity, water. Okay, yeah, but I mean like accepting like personal assistance. I ain't never got no assistance from the government. So I'm not too much concerned with that. I need substantial change. And to be honest, you know, I'm not for sure we're going to get it. Some places they started instituting reparations, or at least putting up legislation and having to talk about it and things like that. And I'm proud to see that. That gives me hope and give me light at the end of the tunnel. But that may be what it's for, to give hope, to keep stringing us along. But if we're not talking about that, we're really not talking about anything, because everything else is just minor. Now, I say that, but then I don't want to be unsympathetic and unempathetic to people who need help. I do believe we need to help others. You know what I'm saying? I do believe that the government should help people who can't help themselves. But also us as a community need to take care of our own too, like what the Panthers did, like what Islam did, like what different other localized groups do for their community. We need to have those everywhere, and we need to be a conglomerate, and we all need to deal with each other first and quit going to the government for every damn thing. Like we that lets them know we in a child mentality. Anytime we can't govern ourselves, anytime we can't take care of ourselves, anytime we can't get together and take care of our own issues, that puts us in a subordinate position. And that's what they want us to be. There's nothing wrong for doing for self. Like, what can the government do for us that we can't do for ourselves? We just got to click up and get together and just do it. You know what I'm saying? Now, how? I'm not for certain, but I know there's people out there that's way smarter than me that can come up with different ways in order to organize, in order to get stuff done. I would rather put my money to you, somebody that I know. If I give my money to you and give my money a vote, I know I can touch your ass too if you get away with my money and my vote. I'm not gonna give it to somebody in Washington that I don't know where they live, I don't know what they do, and I ain't gonna be able to touch them. I need somebody that I can touch, whether it be locally or federally, because people get in positions and do what the hell they want, and then we always competing with corporate interests too, private interests also, these PACs and super PACs and all this type of things, man. It's a lot of things going
Yo,
on at the
dude,
same
I
time.
put
Go ahead.
something in the back. Play
All
the
right.
YouTube.
All right. Let me see. Well, while I'm doing this, go ahead and chop it up. You
Yeah.
know,
So I agree with you, but I believe that um if we look at especially America, a lot of these people, even America, if it wasn't for the 400 years of slavery, they wouldn't be so up on everybody else. So when World War II and World War One happened, they had bread. So so what I'm saying is that not the Kamala thing. The oh, that's you. No, so when I'm because I'm just talking about the black farmers and why we do need stuff, but we do need a settlement from the government because when they had the GI Bill and the GI Bill that was about yeah. So when they had the GI Bill and some black people couldn't use the GI Bill, but the white people could, I think that type of racism, help white people.
Mhm.
So we have to look at things like that. That was just showing you that Kamala did break the Eighth Amendment, and
He did break what?
the Eighth Amendment.
What is the Eighth Amendment?
Um, I'm not letting unfair bonds and you know, giving not letting people get out, without fair bonds and stuff like that. Like she was,
Okay. Okay.
I don't know, like you gotta look it up. Let me look it up.
All right. Well, let's check out this right now. I don't believe Kamala has spoken on her policies too much as of yet. I believe there's some type of meeting coming up to where she speaks supposed to speak on what policies she does support. I'm not sure what she has done as vice president, and even just speaking up to certain things. Man, to me, it ain't even about necessarily what you do, but even speak to the issues of the people, you know, the people you for. So let's get back to I'm gonna bring up reparations as an example, right? Let's say that a president can't directly institute uh reparations, right? Let's say that he can't. That don't mean he can't speak towards the issue. Like you could shame Congress, you could shame the politicians, speak to it, say, hey, this is ridiculous. We need to get this done. That will do a lot, galvanize the people in that way. That will get things moving. That will get the ball rolling. That will get legislation uh 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 cracking. You know what I'm saying? If you just start the conversation like, hey, we need to right this wrong, period, coming from the president or the vice president. Why can't you at least do that much? Right? Somebody could at least say that, but we can't even get that much out of somebody, right? I'm not saying write the legislation, come up with the bill, support any specific I'm not gonna say group, but any specific bill, but at least get the conversation rolling to where we can, get behind it and start pushing it ourselves, because it's really up to us to, create bills and bring it to, Congress and get it passed. You know what I mean? It's us. But we know they're not going to do certain things. They're not going to do certain things that's going to work against their interests. And that's the reality that we need to deal with also, right? A reality that we do need to deal with is for us to understand that the United States really can't rule on things that's going to work against their interests as, the United States, if you really understand what that means.
Play
That's an, Go
if
ahead.
you want, play that Democracy Now thing that I put in the back because that goes right along with you're saying, right along with you're talking about right now.
All right, let's read this. I'm not sure what this is. This was sent to me, but let's go through this and then we'll go through the things in the backtrack. Also, how Kamala Harris fought to keep non-violent prisoners locked up. As California Attorney General, she spent years subverting a 2011 Supreme Court ruling requiring the state to reduce its prison population. The overseeing judicial panel nearly found the state in contempt of court. Wow. All right. Senator Kamala Harris, a leading candidate to be a Joe Biden running mate,
It's
repeatedly
a
and
button
openly.
right there. Can you play that? Would it
Yeah,
play
I got you.
on the
I got you. Let me read this and I'll play it. A leading candidate to be Joe Biden's running mate repeatedly and openly defied U.S. Supreme Court orders to reduce overwhelming in California prisons while serving as a state attorney general. According to legal documents reviewed by the prospect, working in tandem with Governor Jerry Brown, Harris and her legal team filed motions that were condemned by judges and legal experts as obstructionist, bad faith, and nonsensical, at one point even suggesting that the Supreme Court lacked jurisdiction to order a reduction in California's prison population. If you don't believe that the prison population in the United States is a problem, you're a problem. You are definitely a problem. The United States has the highest prison population in the world. We don't have the worst people in the world. I cannot believe that Oklahoma specifically a couple of years ago had the highest prison population rate in the world, Oklahoma specifically. I live here. I know we don't have a bunch of just criminals here. I live here all my life. I've been here. So if you can't even, get on the side of making some better legislation to where they're not locking so many people up, and I mean all people, all they are locking up people for, being addicted to drugs. That's one of the main things. People getting locked up for petty crimes, things like this. We need to give people help. We got a lot of insane people in prisons, right? We do need to get some of those people out of prisons because prison has become a money-making industry in and of itself, which is sad, right? To where now we're not even worried about the laws, but we're worried about making money off of locking people up. That's a whole nother discussion unto itself. So yeah, this is the real issue right here, man. If you're not for like getting people out of prison, and I'm not talking about people that deserve to be in prison. Overwhelmingly, prison is overpopulated with addicts and people with mental disabilities, right? So that's one thing. So let's go back over here. Let's go back over here. Oh, well, let me check on this YouTube chat right quick. What the YouTube chat talk about? All right. And then you said there's something in the back chat regarding something. Let's check that out. Let's see what we got. Boom. Let's see. Here we go. The first link or the second link, or does it matter? Let's do the
The
first link.
second link. The second link is the YouTube.
All right. Let me go back. Wow. Okay. It's gonna start playing. Let me pause
This is Democracy Now!
Okay. Here. Let's share this. Let's see what good guy talking about right quick. All right.
You're gonna love this. Let this play out fully, then we're gonna talk about it.
This it right here. Can you see
Yeah.
them? All right. Let's check it out.
Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. We end today's show with the historic $2 billion payout by the U.S. Department of Agriculture to Black farmers and other farmers of color who experienced discrimination when applying to the USDA's farm loan programs. The payouts finally came 2 years after Congress funded them through the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022. USDA Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack made the announcement last week.
Now, this financial assistance is not compensation for anyone's loss or the pain endured, but it is an acknowledgement by the department. And our hope is, and the president's hope is, that this financial assistance will help many farmers stay on the farm, contribute to our nation's food supply, and continue to do what they love.
This comes after the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights confirmed as long ago as 1965 that the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, discriminated against Black farmers. But little was done to address the problem, and the number of Black-run farms dropped 96% in the last century. By 1999, 98% of all agricultural land was owned by white people. For more, we go to Boydton, Virginia. We're joined by John Boyd, a fourth-generation Black farmer and founder and president of the nonprofit National Black Farmers Association, which fought for these payouts that have now gone out. John, welcome back to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. Explain the significance of what's happening right now.
Amy, thank you so much for having me, and it's always good to spend time with you. This is a very, very historic payout for Black farmers, and I see it as a huge win for myself and the National Black Farmers Association that worked on this for nearly 4 decades. So basically, 60,000 applications were turned in, 45,000 Black farmers and other farmers of color have begun receiving checks this week and the latter part of last week. So it's very, very good news in the total of $2 billion. So we've been waiting for this payout for a long time. And the MBFA went out and held 60 meetings, Amy, in FaceTime with our members. We sent out 130,000 postcards in the mail to all of our members, telling them how to apply for this. It took us, Amy, on average 3 to 3.5 hours to help each and every Black farmer fill out this 40-page application. So it was a very extensive process. And so we were glad to get the news that from Stephen Benjamin at the White House actually called me and told me that the checks were actually going out to farmers around the country. So we see this as a huge significance of farmers who are facing foreclosure. We have a lot of Black farmers in our organization that were facing foreclosure. So these payments are timely. It's going to help them stay on the farm, will help them improve their equipment, help them pay taxes. And I'm not saying it's a whole holistic fix, but it's certainly a huge thumb up for us. And Amy, we're still pushing for the $5 billion in debt relief. So I'm asking the administration to do that by executive order. That's what I've been having conversations with the White House to still get the $5 billion. That's the land that's owned by many Black farmers that have their deeds of trust tied up with the United States Department of Agriculture. And again, that's a decade-old request as well.
And could you explain the difference between the payments and the debt relief?
Absolutely. The payments, like you heard Secretary Vilsack mention, it was those Black farmers and farmers of color who experienced discrimination prior to 2021. So that was just about everybody in our organization that fit that definition. So that piece was totally separate.
I don't know how much we can play this, good guy. I don't know how much of this we can play. But why did you want me to share this?
That will be something that the Kamala administration could say that, you know what, we gave Black farmers what it was, $2 billion, what was it, $9 billion? $9 billion, and she should fight for them to get that $5 billion. So what I'm saying is that Black farmers need that because number one, that's not even for slavery. That's something for 1965. So that's what I'm saying is that
that's some policy that she can get behind.
Right. If she would say, you know what, this is what my administration did as a vice president, and this is what I am pushing for Black farmers. Also, they need that $5,000 for their land. So this is something
I do think that will be a good thing for her to do, because that's something that's not, it won't be controversial. You know what I mean? If she was to get behind a bill like that, could nobody say anything negative about that? Because that's something that's specific to specific people that, can be done. And somebody on the opposite side can be like, wait, you need to do something for this side. You know what I'm saying? So that I agree with you on that note. So that is some policy, but this is not her policy. And she hasn't really stated.
I'm helping her out with this
one. Well, she definitely needs some damn help. But let's go look at this right quick. Let's see. Let's see.
But I'm just saying that this is what they need to do. If she was really for Black people, that will be shown up front instead of the non-kappa, the Boule Society that's backing her. That's what where's the grassroots at, my bad.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, it's ChatGPT.
That's what it's
right.
Yeah.
All right. So for everybody making the argument that, presidents can't do nothing for specific groups because discrimination or whatever type of thing that you come up with is absolutely not true. Let's go through some of the legal ways that, that you can and maybe cannot. Also, um, just be quiet. If you really can't come up with the legal backing to what you say, then you should not say nothing, because you are discouraging people from doing the right thing, from what they know is best. So this is what ChatGPT said when I asked it about presidents doing things for specific groups. The idea that a president cannot create policies that specifically benefit a particular group of people without being discriminatory is often debated, but the law itself is nuanced, right? So let's look at some legal bases. Equal Protection Clause. The U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment contains the Equal Protection Clause, which requires that no state shall deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. This means laws and policies should not discriminate against or unfairly favor specific groups without a legitimate reason. Without a legitimate reason, federal actions, including those by the president, must also meet this standard. So there is an exception, right? There needs to be a legitimate reason. So in the 14th Amendment, it says you cannot unfairly discriminate, but you can come up with something that's fair and discriminate. We know that because it's been done. Let's move to the second one, affirmative action, excuse me. There are instances where policies do benefit specific groups, especially in cases of historical disadvantage, such as affirmative action programs. These policies are intended to promote equality by addressing past discrimination and disparities. Courts have allowed such measures as long as they serve a compelling government interest and are narrowly tailored. So affirmative action is a prime example, even though other people did participate in affirmative action later on in the third, I believe, but this is policy that's specific, that was aimed at specific groups of people. So there is a real life example right there. Discriminatory intent versus effect. Number 3, for a policy to be considered discriminatory in a legal sense, it must either have a discriminatory intent, targeting a groups based on race, gender, etc., or an adverse impact that disproportionately affects one group over another without justification. Courts will examine whether there is a valid, non-discriminatory reason for the policy. That is cap. You feel me? Because we help groups all the time. We help Israel when they're in need. We help Pakistan when they're in need. We help Iran when they're in need. We help all these different countries when they in need. And these are specific groups of people, specific nationalities. Are different ethnic groups wrapped up in that? Yes, but you can target specific policy and do certain things. And let's not forget what the farmer said, which I don't think this goes into. What about executive orders? That's a way you can go around Congress. The president does have this power, right? And I think Congress had the ability to. I don't think Congress had the ability to stop an executive order. We need to look into that. But the president specifically has something that's called the executive order, to where he can do things and bypass Congress, man. And then I think they just have to go through some type of process in order to stop it. Targeted aid. Presidents and governments can often implement policies that target specific groups. There we go, such as veterans, farmers, or small businesses in certain areas, as long as the policies have a legitimate governmental interest and are not based on unconstitutional discrimination. There you go. Why can't reparations be targeted aid? Because it is. Other people have gotten it, have they not? Let's keep going. Political and legal reality. Political discourse. While people often argue that aiding specific groups is discriminatory, the legal reality is more complex. The law allows for targeted programs as long as they are designed to address a legitimate governmental concern and are justified under existing legal framework. Judicial scrutiny. If a policy appears to benefit or harm a particular group, it can be subject to judicial review. That's what I was talking about. Courts will determine if the action serves a legitimate purpose and is not discriminatory in intent or effect. In summary, while the president is subject to legal constraints of equal protection clause and anti-discrimination laws, they can't implement policies that benefit specific groups as long as these policies are legally justified and do not violate constitutional protections. That's it. We don't have to guess. We have seen it with our own eyes. We hear about it all the time on the news, CNN, your local news. We help everybody all over the world, but refuse to help Black people here in the measure that we need it substantially. Why? I need to know. This is ridiculous. So for the people that are constantly saying what the president can and can't do, what Congress can and can't not do, shut up. It's not true. You can do it as long as it's legally justified. Reparations is legal, right? We have been wrong. We have been injured by the state. It has been systematic oppression against a certain group of people, and the government was behind it. That's all that we need. That's all we need right there. The question we should be asking ourselves is why won't they, right? And I'm not into begging. So it is clear to me that they refuse to do it. So me, I'm for self. I take measures into my own hands. I say, let's do for self, right? If they don't want to do the right thing, what we know is the right thing, what they know is the right thing, I'm not into begging for years and years and years. We need to band together and do what we know we're supposed to do. Grown man stuff, grown woman stuff, mature humans. You know what I mean? We got to stop begging for help and letting people string us along for decades, for centuries, right? And just do what we know we're supposed to do.
Somebody asked in the chat, what do we want her to do? Well, I think what we were talking about is that everybody got a particular policies for themselves. Every individual group of people, the Jews, Arabs, whoever's out there, whoever community, Christian community, Muslim community, all communities, Chinese even got a bill. So we are just Black people just asking for something for their vote. That's all. You're not asking for much, just something, some real policies for our vote.
Me, myself, I would want her to just endorse reparations. That would be enough for me. If we have a sitting president or a sitting vice president to just endorse, say that we need to do this, I think us as a people can do the rest. That's all we really need. We need somebody that's high in the political stratum to say, hey, we need to quit playing and let's do this for these people. That'd be enough because I think we'll put in the work after that. I know I would. You know, that'll be a quote, a slogan that'll be on shirts, billboards, in the news, and we just have somebody that will say it. I think we can
But she's
manifest
not. But she's not a African American, so I wouldn't think that a non-African American will first time being president will use their bully pulpit to go try to
She
tell the
does
people.
identify as an African American
No,
sometimes.
she can't identify. She probably identifies as Black, but she can't identify as African American because she ain't one. What I'm saying is that even if she does identify as African American, her identifying will not make her policies be for reparation. And in my outlook of Kamala Harris, I believe that Kamala is the type that's going to go with everything that whoever's telling her what to do. Well, she's going to be, because at one point she wasn't for fracking, now she's for fracking. So whatever they tell her, whatever floats their boat, whatever they tell her to do, and I know they ain't gonna tell her to even get on the bill for HR 40. HR 40 is not reparation. HR 40 is another look at reparation. So I don't believe she's gonna even do that.
Man, we don't need to look at it. We need to make it happen. And people are always talking about, well, it'll bankrupt the country. It'll raise the taxes. It'll discriminate against. I don't give a damn. And it's many ways you can give reparations. Reparations is not just one thing. It could be Black people not paying taxes. It could be land grants. It could be business grants or business loans, or it could be an array of things. Reparations is not no one specific thing. You can be creative with it. You know what I'm saying? So quit saying what we can't do and get on somebody's head about what they should do. America is supposed to be about being just, the land of the free, right? Equal opportunity, right? Getting stuff done, the leaders, the foremost leaders of the world, right? America can never be that until they make right what they did in slavery. Check.
Check. And with that being said, I believe if they do so, it will damn near. I believe they do give a bit reparation. It will save the American economy. But they will rather, what is this saying? Cut their feet to spite their teeth. I forgot how the saying go. So, they would rather die. They'd rather go down with the sinking ship before give black people what they just deserves.
Why do you think
So,
that is? Why do you think that is?
but if you look what's going on in Gaza, you know what I mean? I believe that they still feel like slavery is the way to go. So we're not going to do not slavery in the way of Gaza. We're going to do the slavery the way of working 9 to 5 slavery.
Right.
So we're going to keep the foot on not only on black people neck, on the middle class and everybody else neck. And I think that bringing immigrants into America and then say y'all can't say nothing, to me that's a form of slavery, and it's a crazy slap in the face to say we're going to bring immigrants into a place where you did not take care of your former slave ancestor children, and you're going to bring immigrants into the country. So I think they do that just to slap us in the face even more. I'm gonna let my
Yeah.
plan saying that, that's the thing about Kamala Harris. I don't believe she's going to give us anything. I don't believe she's going to give us that plan. She said that lift up plan. I don't believe
Yeah.
she's going to even come up, even say if she does be president. Say if she wins in November and then January 1st she'd be president. I don't believe that she's going to do that type of policy to lift everybody up. I don't believe that she's that type of person. She like the president said, while one public says she flip flops on everything. So I don't believe that.
I think she may, but I don't want that. But if she enacted, am I gonna take it? You damn right I'm gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta take what I can get, but what she won't get is my vote. What she won't get is my support. What she won't get is black people in general, getting what they deserve. That's what we won't get, I should say. And we got to stop just being so nice about it, right? Because then people will say it's inappropriate to talk about, doing stuff for specific people. Man, I don't care about being inappropriate. I said chump. Trump is the most inappropriate president ever. He don't care about being appropriate. He say how he feel. We should be able to say how we feel too, and not only say how we feel, hold people to the fire behind it, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to quit being so nice about it, because was people nice to us? You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the way that we got active when that's happened to George Floyd. And I think that we always need stuff like that. I don't say we always, because we shouldn't need stuff like that in order to get active. It should be simple stuff as policy, right? If we got a policy that we standing on and it don't get passed, we need to get active. What does that mean? Hey, it mean whatever it mean. You hear me? We got to do whatever we got to do. What Malcolm X say, by any means necessary. And we supposed to be dealing with corrupt officials as such. If a government official is being corrupt, and I think corruption also is turning a blind eye to things that they know that they're supposed to do, right? That's corruption also, omitting things, not doing what you know is just. That's also corruption. You're supposed to bust people up one way or the other, whether it's take them out of office, whether put your hands on them, whether get at them financially, whether whatever the case may be. Corruption is corruption. But hey, man, it's
Uh,
been a nice show. We about to round this thing up. I got
yeah.
some things to do. You want to close me out? You got something you
Yeah,
want to say?
yeah. Say that we like every other group, we need to have a think tank. We need to have these conversations on, what do we want as Black people? What should we ask for both candidates? And like Ice Cube did, have a plan. And like you said on the last show, have a 100-year plan, a 200-year plan. But I love the discussions, love this conversation. I hope your platform will keep growing, bro.
I appreciate you. And that was well said. We do need to organize and we do need to come up with specific plans ourselves, and we need to hold people's feet to the fire about it. We need to not play about ourselves. This has been The Principles. I am your host, Due Diligence. Thank you for stopping by. Everybody that participated in the chat, like, share. I appreciate you for coming by, and we'll do this again another time. Peace.